So, what if a simple nutritional supplement could actually outperform a leading prescription drug for something as common as heartburn? Today, we're going to break down a really fascinating 2006 study that dug into that exact question.
And this whole thing kicks off with a premise that really stops you in your tracks. What if the go-to solution for acid reflux, the one everyone knows, isn't the only answer? Or maybe, just maybe, not even the best one? That's the big question we're tackling today. Okay, so first things first. Before we can really get into the solution, we have to appreciate just how massive the problem is. We are talking about a common, everyday agony that millions of people are dealing with.
Now, the official medical term is Gastroesophageal Reflux Disease, or you've probably heard it, GERD. All it really means is that stuff from your stomach is backing up where it shouldn't, into the esophagus. And that main symptom, the one we all know, it's that classic, nasty, burning feeling we call heartburn.
And listen, this isn't some rare condition. The paper we're looking at cites an estimate that a jaw-dropping 44% of adults in the U.S. feel symptoms of GERD at least once a month. Think about that. That's almost half the adult population.
So with a problem that is that widespread, what's been the standard game plan? For decades, the answer is really centered on one very powerful class of drugs.
The undisputed heavyweight champion in the fight against GERD is a type of drug called a proton pump inhibitor, or a PPI. These are acid-suppressing drugs, and they're pretty much the first thing a doctor will recommend.
I bet you've heard of some of these names before. Omeprazole is probably one of the most well-known, and it's actually the exact drug they used as the gold standard in this study. And let's be clear, these things are really, really good at shutting down stomach acid.
But, this whole study wouldn't even exist if that was the end of the story. The researchers behind it started pointing to some potential concerns with these standard treatments, and that's really what got them looking for another way.
Now, it is super important to be really clear here. The paper notes that in rodents, long-term use of these PPIs was linked to some potential risks, like certain types of tumors. They also raised the possibility of bacterial overgrowth in the stomach because, well, you're getting rid of the acid that kills bacteria. This is what really lit the fire for them to explore other options.
And this is where the story gets really, really cool. Instead of trying to find some new, stronger, more complex drug, the researchers decided to test a combination of compounds that are already naturally found in our bodies. So they set up what's called a single-blind randomized study. Basically, that just means the patients had no idea which treatment they were getting, and they were assigned to their group completely at random. It was a straight-up, head-to-head fight. The new supplement versus 20 milligrams of omeprazole.
So what was in the secret formula? Well, it was a mix of things like melatonin, a bunch of B vitamins, and some amino acids like L-tryptophan and methionine. All things that are either in the food we eat or that our bodies already make.
All right, this is it. The moment of truth. How did this simple nutritional formula do against one of the most widely used drugs in the entire world? The results were, well, frankly, they were just stunning.
So here's the setup. They got over 350 patients and split them into two groups. Group A got the supplement once a day. Group B got the standard dose of omeprazole. And for 40 days, everyone kept a diary of how they were feeling.
And the results? Whoa. After 40 days, the omeprazole group did well. About 2/3 of them, almost 66%, said their symptoms were completely gone. But the supplement group? The result was something you just never see. 100%. Every single patient reported a complete regression of their symptoms. The difference was massive.
Of course, they also tracked side effects. The omeprazole group had a few reports of things like diarrhea and headache, but the supplement group? Almost none of that. The one big side effect, which totally makes sense, was drowsiness. Over 90% of them reported it, which isn't a surprise when melatonin is a key ingredient. So the big question, the million-dollar question is, how? How can this simple blend of vitamins and amino acids deliver a result like that? Well, the researchers had a really interesting theory.
They proposed it was a team effort, like a multi-pronged attack. First, you've got melatonin, which is known to help reduce stomach acid and tighten up that valve that's a big part of reflux. Then, they figured that tryptophan and B vitamins were providing a kind of natural pain relief. And finally, some of the other ingredients might be working together to create something called SAM, which is known to fight inflammation. It wasn't one thing, it was everything working together.
Now, to really make these numbers feel real, the paper includes this incredible case study of one guy from the supplement group. I mean, this man was critically ill. He had a huge ulcer in his esophagus and had wasted away to literally half his normal body weight.
And this timeline just perfectly shows the human impact. In March 2002, he's healthy. By October of the next year, he's down to just 40 kilos. But then, after only 32 days on this supplement, he'd already gained back 30 kilos. Less than a year later, scans showed the ulcer was healed and he was back to his original healthy weight. It's just an amazing turnaround.
And all of this brings us back to our final question. Now look, this was just one study from 2006, but its findings are just so profound. It really makes you stop and wonder. For a problem that hits nearly half the population, could the key to relief really be hidden in a formula this simple? It for sure gives us a lot to think about.